The Kevin Durant sweepstakes have come to a close, and your winners of the jackpot are the Houston Rockets. Now, it's been a foregone conclusion now that Kevin Durant was going to be gone from the Phoenix Suns, but the question of the offseason was always going to be where he was going to go, and now he has a home in Houston. And throughout this entire saga, this is a team that has been linked to him the entire time, so it makes a lot of sense for the Rockets to make this trade. There have been a lot of twists and turns in the Kevin Durant story, especially this past season. It became clear that in Phoenix it wasn't going to work out, whether it was his fit alongside Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, or the financial situation over there, in which you also have an untradeable contract for Bradley Beal. It was a foregone conclusion that he was going to be gone, and now he's found a home with the Houston Rockets. And throughout this entire time, as we found out that Kevin Durant has been unhappy with his situation there, every single time that has been brought up, one of the teams that has always been recurring as having interest in him has been the Rockets, and now they finally got their guy. Whether it was, the twists and turns of the San Antonio Spurs, could he go there and mentor Wimby, or the Minnesota Timberwolves, could he join up with someone who idolized him growing up watching Kevin Durant and Anthony Edwards? But every single time, you always had to have the Houston Rockets there as a mention, and they have finally went out and they have got Kevin Durant, and this trade makes a lot of sense for them. So full trade details, they got Kevin Durant, and in return, the Phoenix Suns received Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, their first round pick, and 5 future seconds. And overall, this is a package that, when you look at the age of Kevin Durant, it can seem a little bit lofty. He's 37 years old, and with these 5 second round picks, you could wager that you may be mortgaging your future. However, overall, I think it is a trade that makes sense for both sides. For Phoenix, you get Dylan Brooks. This is a veteran who has been around for quite a while. And Phoenix, they don't have a lot of talent on the roster, especially money wise. They don't have a lot of room to pick up a veteran like him, so he makes sense to fit in the locker room. That's why the Rockets brought in Dylan Brooks originally, to be that veteran, to be a leader, and so he could fill on a similar role for the Suns. For Jalen Green, he needed to change the scenery. It was much like Kevin Durant getting moved. It seemed likely that Jalen Green was going to get moved as well. This is someone who has shown flashes of potential at times, so has never put it all together. So maybe a change of scenery can be very good for him. And also, when you consider what the Suns were last year, this is a team that, as long as you have Devin Booker, he's a perennial All Star. You're always going to be within contention, or at least a playoff team with Devin Booker on your roster. You're not going to be bad enough to be a bottom tier team. So adding in someone like Jalen Green, he's going to be a project, but what you can do with him is you have time to develop him. You don't have championship expectations, but also you're not going to be the first overall pick in the lottery. So having him on the team, that's going to help keep you afloat. Sometimes he might lose you a game or two, but also this is a new change of scenery and a chance for Jalen Green to redefine himself in a new system. Now, with his first round pick, of course, first round picks, we have kind of seen over the years a little bit of a devaluation that you see them get thrown around in the Desmond Bain trade, stuff like that. But only one first round pick here, and for Houston, you've already got a lot of young players on your roster that you're looking to develop. So you're largely okay with moving on from this because you still got Jabari Smith, you still got the Thompson twin, you still got a lot going for you there. Cam Whitmore, we've still yet to see his full potential, so you're okay with that, I think. And then with the second round picks, I think overall, yeah, 5 is a lot, but there is so much talent nowadays in the league. You can find guys from other areas, and so you're overall okay with moving on from that. So yes, it's a lot for someone who is an aging veteran. Kevin Durant also, when you consider trade package, you've got to consider the caliber of player that he still is. He is still a superstar in the league, a top 10-ish, 12 range player, and he's exactly what Houston needed. And really, of course, you look at the Rockets, the reason they made this move was because Kevin Durant seemed like nearly a perfect fit for them, because this team, Jalen Green was really their leading scorer last year, and as I said earlier, he's not too consistent. Sometimes he's not too efficient. He hasn't put it all together just yet. In this team, they've got a lot of defensive abilities. They have the veterans. They've got a little bit of everything, but they needed that consistent number one scorer. And there's perhaps no one better in the league than Kevin Durant. This is someone who also, when you make a move for a star like this, not only is he a great scorer, but sometimes there is an adjustment period that needs to take place. Look at the Los Angeles Lakers. They traded for Luka Doncic. This guy, top 5 player in the world. However, there was a little bit of adjustment period. They went out in the first round this year because, you only had that mid-season acquisition. You've got to have time to gel and build team chemistry there and just have all your guys fit around a guy like Luka Doncic. But for Kevin Durant, he's a little bit less demanding in that regard. You can fit him into any scheme, and he works very well because he can play on ball, he can play off ball. He's going to find a way to score regardless, and that's where you find value from him. So it makes a lot of sense, precisely what Houston needed. And this team going into next year, this is a team that could do very well be a playoff contender at the very least. You got Fred VanVleet, you've got KD, you've got Thompson, you've got Alperen Sengun. Sengun is a borderline all star, and if he kind of stagnated this year in terms of his production. He didn't take much of a leap, but this is someone who is kind of like a Nikola Jokic archetype at the big man spot. And so with that, that is someone that is going to be able to pass out of that five spot. And Kevin Durant, he's going to find Kevin Durant. And so that is just another way that he can be used in this offense. And so that can probably do wonders for Sengun. It's going to attract less defensive attention because that's going to go to get to KD, so you can help to develop him as well. Overall, I think this move makes a lot of sense for Houston Rockets. KD is a perfect fit there, and you give up a decent amount, but overall, the moves make sense. Dylan Brooks can be a mentor over in Phoenix. He helped redefine your culture over in Houston for a couple years. Jalen Green, he finds a new home as well. Maybe he can finally tap into that potential that he seems to have. Then that first round pick, you've already got a lot of young talent on the roster. Same with those second round picks. Overall, they wanted their guy and they got him, and they're willing to give up these pieces. Kevin Durant, he's going to be a good fit over the Houston Rockets. And for the Phoenix Suns, this is a chance to move on now from that era, that failed big three of KD, D-Book, and Bradley Beal. And part of that was injuries, but part of it was just the fact that they didn't fit too well together. And so now you have a chance. Bradley Beal, of course, is still on the team with his no trade clause. He's probably still going to be there, but Devin Booker, you want to keep him happy. You want to keep him in town, be a Phoenix lifer, because this is someone who has given his all to this franchise, has been so great, so consistently for so long now. He came in that 2015 NBA draft. You want to keep him around, keep him happy. And so I think they did that here. You know, you bring in the mentor, you bring in the veteran Dylan Brooks, you bring in a young prospect with potential, you bring in a lot of picks. Makes a lot of sense on both sides. And for the Houston Rockets, they are winners of the Kevin Durant sweepstakes. It's going to be fun to watch them next year.